no one answer this question, but this is so important. And now the AI gonna give you shitty answers.
Valid point. We've been hearing a lot about this as well in India.
On ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, or Claude. In this study,
It's been backed by a lot of data because it's Google.
Most of the biggest LLMs is from or US, most of them, and or China. But for me, it's like an amazing tool. Go 100% of synthetic data all the time.
What is exactly machine personality gap?
And when you talk about it, this is really important because
there are certain cultural nuances. I generally get the same feedback.
You try to corrupt me.
You mentioned about D2C specifically, countries like Bangkok or Thailand.
But
see, AI is not 100% sure, right?
They make like a Jarvis, no?
It's more Western-centric hallucinations, is what you're saying.
That's one of the tricks you can do it.
And I get rejected, which still means that a lot of people would still lose their job. Welcome back to the Collaborative Canvas, where we map the intersection of the innovation, strategy, and the human stories behind it. I'm your host, Ankesh Saxena. Today, we are recording live from the vibrant city of Bangkok at the event IAX Insights Innovation Exchange. We have spent the last few days talking about the future of data, but one question keeps rising to the top. If AI is reshaping how we understand human emotion, whose emotion is it actually reflecting? Joining me today is a man who is literally auditing the machine personality of the world's leading models. Cassiano Albuquerque is the head of AI product and research innovation at Cassie.ai. He's here to talk about the paradox that every brand builder and researcher needs to understand: synthetic emotions and the real impact. Welcome, Cassiano. To begin with, let's introduce yourself, Cassiano, first.
Okay. So my name is Cassiano. I'm from Brazil and living in New York City. So I'm past my whole career. It's 2 decades career in market research and tech research. So I passed through Ipsos and data collection panels. And for the last 4 years, I started entrepreneur. So I opened another company before, Market Research for All. It's like an aggregating platform for our industry.
Yeah.
And I sold the company and restarted with Cassie AI, which is a software house for helping companies to build themselves the AI ecosystem. So that's why I came here for Thailand and Bangkok and IIX APAC for show the paper that I'm producing and I studying about behind the scenes of the AI stuff. So behind the scenes, how works like the LLMs and how works like orchestration of like agencies and synthetic personas, and how this comes with like the emotions, if the AI could feel in the emotion or not. So I come through this meta study from market research in artificial intelligence.
Okay. We have been knowing each other for almost like 4+ years now.
Yeah.
And I've seen Market for All to Cassie.ai that you've developed. And we've been talking about it. And apparently, since, it was a lucky charm for me that you happened to be in Bangkok.
It was really good.
And I saw the paper that you presented, the presentation that you did. How about we give an audience a glimpse of what was your conversation at IAX and what was the whole topic about? And then we'll jump right into your questions.
Oh, great. So the paper that I brought to IAX was a meta study about market research and all the artificial intelligence for LLMs and agents orchestrations. So it's a meta study, and it's good because most of the presentations talk about the outputs. So I'm talking about the behind the scenes, how it works to get those outputs, and it was amazing. Everybody was a really good conversation there. Everybody's so warming, and they have like a bunch of questions after the presentation. So
yeah, I know. I saw the entire crowd being there in the track two. I guess that was track two, and it was a full house, hearing you up and right and answering all those questions, asking all those questions that you answer. But then I realized that I can keep my peace for this podcast, so I have a separate question list that I wanted to check about.
great.
So you spoke about the machine personality gap. What is exactly machine personality gap?
So when you talk about LLMs, you need to go a step back and understand how they are made for. So how you make like LLMs from scratch. So every single LLM have like a background of companies. So we are having like most of the big LLMs companies, AI companies come through US and have like a sort of company in French, but it's open source. And then we're going to talk about open source and private. And some it's coming like strong with China AIs too. So we have this study DeepSeek, but now they're growing for other type of LLMs also there.
Yeah.
So every single one can like background for how they make the machine learning, how they put input, how that data from each one was different.
Yeah.
So if you talk about, let's suppose the Grok, which is the X1, the Elon Musk, they come way more think about the X stuff there. So it's different between them and, for example, Gemini, who come like input data about the Google. So everyone have like behavioring difference in each other. But this is the beauty, because you not need to select just one LLM for work. You can work with the multiple LLMs, and this is going to influence in your synthetic data also.
But tell me something. I mean, we'll get to the synthetic data part because I think that was the limelight of your conversation at IX. What I generally do, when I look for information, I look for information on ChatGPT. I look for Gemini, Claude, Copilot. The backbone of all these four that I work on has the same data strength, the same database, and everybody's feeding, and they're searching the entire globe to answer my question. And I think somewhere down the line it is like if somebody is saying X, the other one would be X1 or X minus 1. How does that difference actually work out? I mean, if I'm really doing a synthetic data for that matter, the difference would always be highlighted. We always say that it's always a 70% correct, and they always have that asterisk disclaimer that, do not trust it completely.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a point. Everyone's, and this should be normalized for everybody, because the end of the day, who gonna accept the output of the LLMs is us. No, so we need to real check and not let the AI do all this stuff for us. We're not gonna be like supply for the AI system. We need to work together as a managing. We need to managing the robots, the LLMs for this, and yeah, the difference between the answers is because they are growing different, and they have like we're calling from guard hails. Each one has like a different approach for guard hails and different approach for how they could answer determinate questions at certain way or different way. And the Grok is more funny, and I feel like they're like the black sheep of the LLMs, because they are not reasoning. They are like doing stuff things for math, but for creativity is really, really good one. And when you talk about it, this is really important, because the LLMs normally they are learning about general information, the general information for from internet, general information for books or for images, videos, audios, and all this multi platform stuff. But we need to put our layer of specialists on this, and that's where they come the agencies. The agencies you put your context data, or people love to call like prompt or context engineering. They create all the data of there, because when you get this specific data, you get like way more accurate output and answer for the machine learning, because they learn about your specific data there.
I like to quote a question I heard, and I wrote that question down. So, for a brand builder trying to find a voice, somebody asked you, how do we identify which AI model naturally aligns with our brand specific emotional DNA versus one that might be fundamentally biased against it?
Yeah, we need to use like a multiple ones, and another thing is we need to bring out the data for the market, like all the the socials data. Everybody was talking about something, and we can like cutting down all the try to cut them, because nowadays it's going to be way more difficult, and that's why come the market research, the data collection, for bring more real data, for input those data into the agencies and put the LLMs for learning with like a real people, and then you can like a mirror these real people for the brands. So that's a thing that goes like more.
No, I think even in that case, if you're using multiple LLMs, as I mentioned earlier, I generally get the same feedback on my questions that I post across. And agentic AI becomes, to a certain extent, my voice, because everybody now know what I am actually looking at. Unless until I'm asking a certain question, I want them to fetch me an information on a regular basis. But sometimes, so I do a lot of research when it comes to, finding the guests, the topics, and I really need to learn more about those topics. So when I interviewing you, I did some research about, what topic you're going to discuss. And there's so many things that, I searched through different LLMs. It almost gave me very identical answers across, plus minus, a little bit here and there. But I was aware, if I'm going to get into more details, I think I'll be able to fetch more information by point, every point that it mentioned. And to the next point, I remember you also mentioned about there are certain cultural nuances. Now, since you've been using Grok, but there are other elements as well, there are other LLMs as well. You mentioned about D2C specifically.
Yeah, for cultural stuff, we in this study, we got like a 40 questions about different dimensions. One of the dimensions for cross-cultural understanding, how does LLMs understand real cultures? So I gave questions about slangs for the small city in Brazil, or a small city in China, or small particularly stuff for different type of cultures in different places, to see each LLM like know the answer or know what I'm talking about. So I did this exercise, and which one was like the best and the champion for the cultural thing was Gemini. Gemini has like more
it's been backed by a lot of data because it's Google.
Yeah, that's why. And then he's good Gemini is a little bit more verbosing than other ones.
Exactly.
And it'll feel like, you try to corrupt me.
I am about to get to that point. You also mentioned about hallucinations.
Yeah.
There must be a lot of red flags, when we train the AI. So how does hallucination in countries like Bangkok or Thailand,
that's
how does they work?
Because as I mentioned, like most of the biggest LLMs is from or US, most of them, and or China. So the training is about this most like a English language in England, and the English culture and American culture, that have like a lot of trillions of data there, and the Chinese too, the language Chinese. So they started with the mother languages in each one of them, like for them. So once you go for different languages, the culture doesn't get the same the same quality of answer once you talk about or in English, or even when you type in English and you type in another language, the answer is not that accurate with
It's
them.
more Western centric hallucination, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and you not another thing for you, try to skip the hallucinations and not trust in the first answer that they give to you, because all these LLMs want to try to not use that much tokens. So they're going to give you the first answer that they get, like the fast answer. If you accept that, fine. But if not, you need to ask like more questions. And you need, no, go deep, analyze deep what I'm talking about. You're not giving me the right answer. I want you go deep of your informations and give me more clarity, or give me at least 3 paragraphs, the informations more constantly. So that's one of the tricks you can do it. But
well, I'll stop you here. Just one question popped out because of this. In MR, we've been talking about a lot about data quality.
Yep.
Open-ends has been a real challenge for many people.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see as human, sometimes I can explain certain things, but I find it difficult in putting that down on a questionnaire sometimes.
Yep.
So I tell ChatGPT that, this is what I'm thinking. It gives me an answer. And, there's always any LLMs for that matter, they are very respectable to your questions. They always say you're thinking right and stuff like that. And that's how, they frame the polished answer for us, which as a respondent, I post it on an open end and I get rejected because the people who are reviewing it, they see that, it's been copy pasted so it's not the real essence.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see that hallucination in a certain way not helping and rather, letting the truth go away?
That's a really good question. And the fact is happen all the time, no? And we need to not trust in the first thing that the LLM give to us. And we need to ask more things. Like, instead of you answer now, it is a prompt. So you need to work better in your prompts instead of you just put or make this question for me, but for getting like a better, good prompt for get all the boost of the LLMs, you need to first ask like, we're going to talk about this theme. Give him or it more clarity of the macro and go the micro for whatever you ask them. And then you put like, before you answer me, you have more questions for me to understand you go deep on your answer. So once you do this, they're going to give you 5 questions, 10 questions. But most of people don't want to answer this question. But this is so important for give the LLM more knowledge. What are you talking about? For they go and grab the important answer and give it to you better outputs.
And you just gave an LLM a gender identity.
Yeah, and the other thing is, because in Portuguese we always use use it. And for us, LLM is masculine. So, and I have so difficult to not name it as him.
Yeah, and since you have already given an identity to LLMs, I'll probably take you to the next paradox between synthetic and human. You also talked about that.
Yeah, I love these questions, and this is the main question for that you in all the conference. No, I've been in this last 3 years of like AI, such a like important theme and important tool for our lives nowadays. And this is the question that comes every single section.
Synthetic emotions,
human emotions. Or human versus the AI. But in my answer is always gonna be first human, because we are in the control. So we control this AI and the agents and the whatever you can call, we could call.
Yeah.
And we control them, and we gonna manage them, whatever task we want them execute for us. So in my perspective, always gonna be human first, but and you need to use the whole capacity. And that's the thing. It's still, I think people still like growing, but with not the pace that it should be, for get like all the max of the LLMs and the AI could bring to us for the tool. But for me, it's like an amazing tool that you can use for, but yeah. And another topic of this that's really important is companies calling, oh, we are the first AI first. Just put like a Copilot or Gemini for the team. Now everybody in the team has a Copilot. Now we are AI first. Wait a minute.
That's hilarious.
Wait a minute. So this topic is so important because actually someone asked me in a conference, what I should go on the free or the pay? No, and then I say never the free just for jokings, just for use it as Google. But the data there, it's lack of information between them, and once you pay what
everything comes for a price.
Yeah, no. And about the Copilot, because all the company or most of the company use the Copilot for default or Gemini or some like ChatGPT as the company using them, but they have like a tier, and I don't know if everybody knows that, but you can use a certain amount of tokens.
Yeah.
And tokens to inside and tokens to outside, to input, number of tokens for input and number of tokens for output.
Yeah.
If you are like a heavy user in the company, in less than 2 weeks, you use all your tokens. And now the AI gonna give you shitty answers. Just 1-2 phrases and that's it. And even you like be mad, answer me more, they're not gonna, because your tier is
exactly
gonna.
That's more of a price impact on the services that you're taking. If you don't pay the price, you would not get the real essence of the GPTs, whichever GPTs we talk about. Yep. But at the end of the day, it's the main body behind any LLMs is the data that's already there, but you pay a price for it. The point is that, within the synthetic emotions and the real impact that we were talking about earlier, you also mentioned about the personas in the beginning of our conversation, that synthetic persona. Do you think companies who are now coming up as synthetic moderators, they're coming up as synthetic respondents, are they eliminating the human touch of the focus group? Because I still believe that, like us talking right up to each other, we are decoding a lot more insights when we speak to each other.
Yep.
It's more like, even if I really wanted to know anything beyond our conversations, I can still dig you deep into that. But that's not the case with I think synthetic would only be limited to a certain extent. What's your take on that? And considering from the cultural perspective, comes from the Western-centric countries.
I have like sensation that it's such a hype on these themes now for synthetic data and building all the moderators, synthetic moderators, all these things. I think certain point for the big ideas for stay started, instead of use conventional conventional market research data collection, or for the beginning of the studies, I think it's value use those because they are quickly answers for you understand. Let's suppose you have like some brand have like a market team. You're gonna talk with the market research team about such a specific topic, some target. And why not in this conversation use the synthetic persona for answer a little bit about what the doubt that they have in this meeting, I think this is value thing. But once you go for invest millions of dollars and one new product, you're not gonna go just only synthetic for this. You need to hear human beings for have these sensations or taste or try the things. I think gonna be the combine of both sides. Synthetic data, it's really fast. So okay, you have like data collection, right? You have like 1,000 completes, but your field work, it's you extrapolate the dates, and you need to complete 10% of this. Why not go for data, that synthetic data there, and complete these questions? I think this is value things, but go 100% of synthetic data all the time. This is concerning me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you cannot have synthetic data as 100% of your data because that's already a past data. And every other second or every other minute, things are changing. And you actually, made a very valid point. We've been hearing a lot about this as well in India, that I have a very niche requirement. I've done 80% of my quota, but that 20% I'm still struggling with. I wanted synthetic data in a certain fashion, in a certain quota structure, or in a certain percentage. But I don't have any data. So in that case, how would you recommend those research agencies where they were struggling with that remaining 20% to fill up the synthetic data and they don't have any backed up data for that? Would you recommend them to at least do 5% so that you can train the model? Or would you just read the entire questionnaire, entire survey responses that you've got to fill those 20% remaining points? How would you do that?
If you don't have like any, you must have like at least background information for give the AI and the agents for help you doing something else. Not trust like just 100% in the general LLMs to answer this.
Let's say, Cassie, we're doing a phone survey, and there is a specific phone which is already in the market. There are a lot of ads being run. I'm sure there must have been a lot of data which is already being there. They wanted to have a certain market share about that data. But the representation is not coming. People who are using it, they probably be not on phone or on laptops most of the time. They could be like blue collar jobs. You're not sure whether they take surveys or not. So you have not even filled a single piece of it. Now you're still lacking behind that 20% of it. ChatGPT or any other LLMs would still have some data around that phone model. Can we not complement that data to fill that 20% gap? Because now we know that, not exactly based on those questionnaire, I may have that data, but at least that data, say 10% of the essence, even if I take from there, I can still frame the answers. And do you think, can be done or not?
You can, but in that case, I think it's good if you go for scrapping the internet.
Yes.
Scrap before.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, before you go, just because most of LLMs doesn't go with data, update data.
Correct.
24/7. They have like once they update the system, the family of like ChatGPT 5, 5.1, 5.2, and all these things, they have like a deadline for here from there. You don't have any more data, and then the next update they're gonna give those data there. So none of these LLMs has like a 24/7 information. So before you ask straight in the LLM for helping you like this, I will go one step back to make scrapping the social media about the segment that you are talking to. Grab all the comments, the new comments for all the company or for the vertical that you are studying. Grab all these informations, put this into the system, into the LLM for that, give like more knowledge about the target that you are talking about. And after that, you ask for that data synthetic for them. I think this is going to be a little bit more accurate.
I think that's exactly the valid point. I mean, if you can actually train the model firsthand and then filling up those 20% later on would still be easier for it, because at least the model know what you're going to ask, rather than giving you crappy answers. And then you're not accepting that quota, because even with the synthetic data, you don't have that kind of a judgment, you don't have that kind of a quality assurance, you don't have the what we call as a client who don't trust the data because it's synthetic. You would at least have some specification which has already been feeded in, basis on which you get some output, you can still accept it.
I believe this. 100%.
And going back to the point, because I remember they have been very polite, LLMs.
This
you also made a point on agreeables.
Be criticized. You can do two things here. If you work straight on ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, or Claude, they have a system there, and they have in the settings, you have some prompt that you can change there. Normally, this prompt doesn't have anything, but if you go in the settings for those chatbots, you can insert a prompt there to be, I don't want you be polite with me. I want to criticize. I want you don't give me shitty answers. You can put all these prompts over there, and he gonna be, every time that he wanna talk to you, he gonna pass for this prompt, and this gonna be your guard hail for get like so kind and give you whatever you want the way that
it's very
that
overly polite.
So you need to trick with them and put like a prompt who can like show them like who is managing here.
I remember I saw a short on YouTube, and this guy was actually telling the word that if your chat GPT is over polite, just tell him, don't be over polite, give me a straight answer, and don't say that I am right, I am asking, which means I'm wrong, or I don't know that, so give me an answer which does make sense. So most of those brand strategies, they often need friction to innovate. And again, one of your point where you mentioned, so how do we prompt an AI? I mean, just not being said just yes man. I mean, if you just elaborated it, but I wanted, say, for an example, not just saying I wanted a straight answer, don't give me shitty answers. What is that prompt that can at least enable them to get the right answer and not being overly polite?
You can go, if you use those chatbots, you can do like this, that go in the settings and set up in your system, the system you call system prompt, because you have like two types of prompts.
And that's in the settings?
In the settings.
Okay. I've never tried that, because I am always like it's very funny to see that, whatever I say, they say yes.
And most of them do these things. But if you go in the system, in settings, and go in system prompt, every time that before he gave you the last answer, they're going to pass through the filter of your system prompt. And they're going to see, oh, with him, I can be like that polite anymore. And then you're going to change the answer over there. Or you can put this as a system prompt on your agents. Once you created your agent, you can put like a tone of the voice of the agent. You can put also this, I want you, if you have like some questions for me, give me the questions. Never give me the first answer that came to you. I want you analyze internally. And this is come with another point, is like a sub agents.
I heard of sub agents as well lately.
Instead of use one agent, you can use two or way more agents. That's what you call agent orchestration. So you have your main agent, and then instead of they give to you straight point your answer, you input a sub agents inside who gonna criticize everything that this guy did.
Got it.
And then give the feedback. If not score, let's suppose 9 to 10. They're gonna give the feedback. You need to improve here, 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 and they're gonna go back the feedback. The agent's gonna work again, and then give the criticize agents, and then say, okay, now you're done. So you can input those multiple agents and work like orchestrations, and then each one do specific tasks into your general task there.
I mean,
This is a good one.
You pointed out a very good example with the satisfaction score. How do you see the future of insights professional will be if AI is handling these logics?
Mm-hmm.
And, with data processing, or probably, let's say, the most critical human skill for any market researcher or brand strategist in India is understanding how the data is talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you see the future of these guys if everything is being given to AI?
Human always first, right? But I see with good eyes once, because the operational time is consuming a lot of time. So normally, if someone does that data process for a big project, they're gonna take like a week, at least a week, to data process all the datas and check all the datas and everything. Instead of they take like a 1 week to do all the process as we've been done for decades. The guy just gonna check if the agent, if the AI did the correct things. So we need to change a little bit to execution things to be way more understand and check, like way more check personally to see, and let the heavy stuff to the AI do for us.
Well, which still means that a lot of people would still lose their job because it's been synchronized to a few more only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's some issue. Like,
see, AI is not 100% sure, right? It's not there where it should be. It's gonna take some time. Do you believe that those data processing companies or the teams who are actually, or the people who are behind it, they should improvise on their skills. They should upgrade themselves.
Yeah. No, that's definitely. I feel AI. It's like in the past when you have Microsoft Office. Before Microsoft Office, everybody's typing in the machine with the paper, all this stuff, and then go to computer. All this process to analogic typing and go the computer. A lot of people lose their jobs over this, but you need to readapt for the reality,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And then it's personal thing too. I'm one of the teachers in Brazilian Association for helping market research understand more about AI. So that's the thing that our community should escalate this for all type of analysts and everybody understand more. And because nowadays people need to be proficient in prompts. That's the thing. They need to know how managing the AI. And this is challenge, this is new, but I think we're going to escalate for that side too.
Got it. Yeah. And one more question. Generally, I ask this to most of those guys because the name of the podcast is the Collaborative Canvas Podcast. Great. So a collaborative future. The question is, our podcast, since is about collaboration in future, how do you see, looking 5 years down the line, let's say, the world where AI and humans co-create the emotional maps? Because something that you also raised during the conversations. And will AI eventually understand our emotion better than us?
No, but they understand how, as a machine learn everything, they understand the percentage of the emotion affect us the way that they're gonna do. So it's like a statistic guy behind the scenes. If something happen like this, or if you have like some advertising like this, most of the people gonna react in that way, because now they have those data. So this is something like they're gonna know a lot of things about emotion. Of course, feeling not gonna be, but they can predict some percentage of the feelings that you're gonna have there.
There's a very funny story behind this. So I was looking, and I think came from the shorts itself or reels. I don't remember, probably Instagram or somewhere I saw that. So there are two guys sitting together. One came to his friend and said, "Dude, that girl, I love her, and I just like her very much. And today I have actually asked her for a coffee." And she said, "Let me get back to you." I don't remember exactly what the line was. And I really wanted to know, will she be interested in me or not? This guy looked a little surprised as to why this question come to him, because he doesn't know that girl. So he said, "Why don't you ask ChatGPT?" And ChatGPT would have predicted something. I'm not sure. I don't recall now, but that was a very funny story I saw. And he was like, he was there. He wrote some prompt that, this what happened. And I asked ChatGPT to predict whether this girl will like her or love her in future or not.
That's the thing, in the future. It is so funny because a lot of people just become like addicted. They do anything if you're not question the system. They make like a Jarvis, for like your personal assistant 24/7 and everything you need to ask them. You need to get some concern to, okay, I'm work with AI, but I mean, I have our lives, no? Yeah, but
this is hilarious. I mean, I think ChatGPT or any LLM for that matter has their own pros and cons, and it is still taking its own shape at this point of time. So there have been conversations around whether people will lose their job, whether people should be upskilled. And I think that's not going to go anywhere for at least a couple of more years. Things are changing for good, and I think people should accommodate into that and should upskill themselves.
I'm really optimist for this too. I always be the guy optimist, but I know have like a really concern to have here. But you need to improve ourselves to getting the same track on the technology gonna go, no?
You're doing a fantastic job. I saw that, you've been helping behind the scenes with people. So, and specifically, thank you for giving me time today to learn more about your paper and, the one that you presented. I'm sure many people would also, look at your paper, hear us out, and, they'll get to reach out to you to see.
Let's put in the comments the dashboard interactive there, and everybody can code there and download those.
I will do that. I'll probably get more details out for these guys, so at least they should come and learn how, if they really needed some help, you guys can reach out to Cassiano. I'll give you the details in the description box. Thank you so much for making time out, Cassiano. It was such a lovely talking to you, getting to know more about from your word as to how synthetic data or AI overall LLMs are working behind the scenes.
Thank you. And
this has been a masterclass in looking under the hood of the tools we use every day. And what I'm taking along with me, Cassiano, is that AI can give us the speed. The human in the loop isn't just a safety measure. It's where the actual brand soul lives. And if you're listening to this and realizing your AI prompts might be leading you into a cultural or emotional dead end, today's conversation is just a roadmap for you. To our listeners, if you found value in these insights, please hit that subscribe button right now. Whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, subscribing ensures you don't miss our next deep dive into the strategies shaping the AI era. Cassiano, thank you so much for joining us in the Canvas live here in Bangkok. I'm Ankesh Saxena, and until next time, keep collaborating, keep creating, and stay curious.